This is my uncle, an average Chinese man, once the village's prodigy. This is my grandma, a granny who does pupping dances every day. They reside in the Sultan house. When it was built, America was not yet a country. My uncle was the best in primary school and still was in junior high school. During the regional exam from the villages, only 3 participated. He was one of them. One day he returned from school with a hell of a fever. The doctor from the neighboring village gave him 4 injections on his buttocks in a single day. He went lame. My uncle, barely a teenager, lay on the bed, not wanting to return to school ever again. The professors came and beseeched him to go 3 times, but my uncle only lay on his bed, silent, like a broken-legged Mr. Zhuge. The first year he refused to leave his bed. No one knew where he got a barefoot doctor's handbook and devoured the contents in a year. But as his leg was rather paralyzed than hurt, it was useless. The second year he threw the handbook away, got down from his bed, watching skies intensely as if in a trance, like a giant toad. The third year he was stunned with the sky watching, and observed a carpenter work in their house. The carpenter finished his work and left, and he told Grandpa that he's got it, and begged him to make carpenter tools for him at the smith. It's the first time that he's left the house. He started making chairs for the protection brigade members, 2 a day, 10 cents each, finally able to earn a living. A couple of years went by. One day he went to the brigade, and the chief told him, "The brigade's gone." He asked why. The chief said, "It's the economic reform." So he started reforming. He wandered from one village to the next doing woodwork. One time he ran into the doctor that had rendered him disabled. The doctor told him, "If we first met each other in this era, I would have drowned in lawsuits having to take care of you all my life." He only grinned, limping and cursing and going back to work again. Later, having procedural problems, he couldn't get his handicap certificate. He was disappointed, then decidedly went to Beijing. He wished to visit Mao's mausoleum in Tiananmen Square, said he wanted to see him. My uncle supported the reform, and he's better off too. Why? 'Cause it's fair, he said. As his wallet got thinner, he went to a cousin who was soldiering in Beijing. As an army relative, he stayed there, surprisingly making a good life. He wasn't interested in socializing much, solely in work. No one knew where he got the carpenter tools, and in that era when the army life was still hard, he helped out, making chairs and cabinets for everyone without taking credit. Who wouldn't love this homie? One day, my uncle's cousin went to the bathhouse and saw an old man with my uncle in one of the bath pools. He was astonished and amazed, for the old man was a high-tier general that he barely ever sees, and the general was giving my uncle a back rub. Later, when my uncle came back to the village, everyone asked him how Beijing was. He only said that the Beijingers massage well. When my uncle's little sisters reached the age of marriage, he felt reluctant, but did what he can. All of the furnitures of their weddings, every blueprint, every slack of wood, every piece of glass, every decoration, every screw and nut, all the layers of paint, he did them all and alone. Can you imagine in the 80s when a villager's daughter married, owning such marvelous furniture, how fantastical it must have been? Grandma's family was deeply impoverished. When my uncle's sister married over with furniture like this, even her family-in-law would think better of her, perhaps treating her sister a bit better. You might think I'm boasting because it's Shanghai brand we're seeing around here. But you quite forgot, this is my uncle, and he always has his ways. Whichever brand you want, he can just make it. He also made Tianjin brands, Beijing brands, and Hong Kong brands, even super deluxe OK brands. Later, he adopted a newborn baby, little Ning. He presumed to work tirelessly, making more money, most days placing Ning in his sister's care, not investing much time with her. Ning was considered a mannerless and rude child, but for a child already twice abandoned, who would dare demand her to be polite to the world that already damned her twice? 10 years ago, Ning married. The 200,000 yuan apartment they bought in town, Uncle paid 2/3. Hard to imagine how he saved such an amount. He drained his savings buying the house for her, but he was so gleeful as to drop tears of joy. This is the Chinese parent, the admirable and pitiful Chinese parent, humbling in greatness. In his early 30s, it was a time when the matchmakers came the most, but he told me that he always thought that he can only take care of himself and none other, and he never thought of marriage. He lied. There was once a woman from the neighboring village. She had a husband and 2 kids. No one knew what ripened such odd circumstances, but they soon grew very close, then exceedingly close. They often met with each other, even when the husband was present. The 2 kids loved him. Soon enough, she started acting as a member of the family, fulfilling duties of participating in marriages and funerals alike. She was good and caring, arranging his messy room to pure tidiness. When he returned from work, there would always be warm food on the table, and just as naturally, he would hand over the day's pay. The years went on. She never divorced her husband. My uncle's siblings soon withdrew their full support and questioned if the woman was after his money after all. So they opposed the relationship quite strongly. Under their influence, Ning called her a vamp and her daughter the little vamp. My uncle was an earnest man and was at his wit's end. Later, the woman and her spouse both died in an out-of-state warehouse. It was gas poisoning. My uncle never married in his life. However, I did not comprehend the details of the romance. My uncle's sister's memories didn't serve them well anymore, and my uncle was unwilling to talk about it. What really happened? It wasn't like any of the Badger games, nor honey traps of any day and age. Did love ever come for this unlikely romance? Decades passed. Old men with their stories withered and died, leaving not even bone or ash, only a kind of bad dead, rotting in my uncle's heart. Time passes, wounds bleed, and scabs form. No longer possible to remove, for the scabs of the gashes too deep for the mind's bearing would break and tear. 30 lackluster years passed. The life of a common man was always as such, so ordinary without being sped up 1,000-fold would bore the viewer to death. Grandma is 88 now. The village's working costs are getting higher, just the right time for a hard-working carpenter. He wanted to save a bit more for retirement, so not to burden Ning with his old age, but Grandma can no longer take care of herself, and has little wish for continuing on. At one time, he found her tying a noose to the door. We often say that there are 4 stages in life: birth, old age, illnesses, and death. But oh heavens, why do we have to be old and sick before death? This is, however, not the Lord's punishment, but rather an act of mercy and pity. If all of us in our 70s or 80s die healthily, how reluctant we will be to leave the world. Such would only lead to more suffering. From this perspective, old age and illnesses are a necessity. For this reason, every time he goes out, he would place Grandma on his automated tricycle. When he goes to work, he would let her sit on the chair nearby. A 66-year-old man with his 88-year-old mother. Everywhere they go, this 6688 combo sure is close hell. Recent years, he stopped his work as carpenter and turned his full attention to caring for his mother, washing her face in the morning, kindling her feet in the evening, forcing her to exercise in the afternoons. In their walks, Grandma has to rest for 10 seconds every 20 steps. My uncle would lag 3 meters behind in these 20 steps. Catching up to these 3 meters takes exactly 10 seconds, so they continue such a rhythm. I've only seen better on Jordan and Pippin. Jordan gives Pippin hypercars, my uncle makes Grandma noodles, adding some tomatoes with the eggs. It's good. Uncle did not contribute much to Ning's education, but Ning became the village's most caring child. From this we can see that the better way for kids to care for you is to care for your parents. Kids are kids. They aren't blind. You can't really define Uncle as a simple carpenter during the 3 days that I've been at home. He's fixed a power strip, a gas stove a bit light, a toy car, a hoe, a washing machine, and a water tap. Going back home, a nun stopped him and asked him to fix the door. Then he was called by another old fellow to fix his electronic stove. Soon my uncle found that the man had just forgotten to turn on the power strip. Poor old chap. At home, he fixed a flip phone and a radio for a granny. When Grandma has stomach problems, he applies acupuncture for her. A villager thought his door frame wasn't pretty enough, so he designed one and carved it for him. All the dragons in the mountain temple was carved by him. There was no fortune teller in the village, so he became one. The tools for fortune telling, of course, he made them himself. The cup and the sticks, the notebook, and he copied the trigrams himself. One day he even wanted to make an erjiu for himself. Wood for the body, old copper phone lines for the strings, bamboo for the bow, fishing lines for the bow here. We didn't have mambas around, so we went into the mountains and caught brown snakes instead, piecing them together for an acoustic vibrator. He always has his methods. I would have shown you that surprisingly good erjiu, but over a decade ago my 80th brother broke it, pretending it's a hoe. Every tool, furniture, and electronics, there's only 3 that he doesn't know how to fix: smartphones, cars, and computers, because he doesn't have any of them. But he does have a smartphone now. Ning bought it for him. Once he opens it up a couple times, he'll know how to fix it. As the night deepened, lights were still on in my uncle's shed, probably fixing some neighbors' things again. Do you hear the bangs and crackles? After the young men had gone, it's the wild boars that came back. The sounds are to scare them away. There's only a couple hundred grannies and grandpas left in the village. If something breaks, going to the repair store 30 kilometers of mountainous road would cost them, and also, even going by bus, they'd be completely lost. He always said that he'd only be able to take care of himself, but he actually took care of the whole village. The villagers all call him jokingly Cripple, but we all know in our hearts that we love this cripple and can't do without him. When they held anew the National College entrance exam in 1977, he was 18. If not for the 4 shots administered to him by the doctor, he would have gone to university, became an engineer, with government allocated housing and state-given retirement money, peacefully and retiring comfortably. One of the kids in the neighboring village did just that, and he wasn't as good as Uncle in his school years. How great could it have been? He would have been one of the lively oldsters, full of life and have exotic hobbies. Observing my uncle always makes me think of the lines in the movie The Lord of Go. A genius like him is just not born at the right time. He should have had the state support and guidance, renowned worldwide. Not like this. Not like this. Lamentable, such regret. I asked him, Have you ever thought of it this way? He said never. With an attitude to life like this, he became the second happiest person in the village. The happiest is Gangang, the village's nutcase. As we can see, the happiest is one without responsibilities. The second happiest is he who does not look back. Who doesn't have regrets? Most people only realize this on their deathbed, that life's greatest regret is to have always regretted past regrets. Regrets are in movies the source of the protagonist's motivation, but in real life the poison that makes us sink ever deeper. I've lived in Beijing for nearly a decade, and have been chanced enough to meet with a few of those truly talented. But only by observing my uncle have I really been able to sense the plain ordinary, the wonder and the hardness of our people. They all say that life is not about getting a good hand, but playing a bad hand to its full potential. Oh, did he play it well? The strength that he demonstrates in the face of suffering and distress. It makes me feel in every deep respect. I have a healthy and intact body. I've been to college and I live in a thriving time and age. I should have lived a far more complete life. Today my uncle is still walking on his road. Oh, where will the road lead? Under his bed is a notebook decades old. On the first page was a quote, "Be resolute, fear no sacrifice, and surmount every difficulty to win victory." Oh yes, this road must lead to victory.